Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Ritesh Prabhu, Ram Prabhuji, for facilitating chanting. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Tanvat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Okay, so let's start with our prayer. Anybody who would like to sing today? Yesterday we had Meenu Mataji try. Today Shriya Mataji want to do?
Sure, Prabhu.
Very well. Yes.
I'm not that confident, but I'll try.
Giriraj Govardhan will give you all the confidence.
Thank you. निजपति भुजदण्ड छत्रभावं प्रपद्य प्रतिहतमददृष्टो दण्डदेवेन्द्र गर्व अतुलपृथुलशैल श्रेणिभूपप्रियं मे निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धन त्वं प्रमदमदनलीला कन्दरे कन्दरे ते रचयति नवयूनोर्द्वन्द्वमस्मिन् अमन्दम् इति किल कलनार्थं लग्नकस्तद्वयोर्मे निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धन त्वम् अनुपममणिवेदी रत्नस्मिं सिंहासनोर्विरुहजरदरसानो द्रोणिसङ्गेषु रङ्गै सह बलसखिभिः सङ्खेलयन् स्वप्रियं मे निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धन त्वम् रसनिधिनवयूनो साक्षिणीं दानकेलेर्द्युतिपरिमलविद्धं श्यामवेदीं प्रकर्ष्य रसिकवरकुलनं मोदमास्फलायन्मे निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धन त्वं हरिदयितपूर्वं राधिकाकुन्दमात्मा प्रियसखम् इह कण्ठे नर्मनालिङ्ग्य गुप्ता नवयुवयुगखेलास्तत्र पश्यन् रहो मे निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धन त्वं स्थलजलतलसस्फेर्भूरुहा छायया च प्रदिपदमनुकालं हन्त संवर्धयन् गा त्रिजगति निजगोत्रं सार्थकं ख्यापयन्मे निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धन त्वं सुरपतिकृतदीर्घद्रोहतो गोष्ठरक्षां तव नवगृहरूपास्यान्तरे कुर्वतैव अगबकरिपुनो चेर्दत्तमानधृतं मे निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धन त्वं गिरिनृपहरिदास श्रेणिवर्येति नाम मृतमिदम् उदितं श्रीराधिका वक्त्रचन्द्रात् व्रजनवतिलकत्वे क्लिप्तवेदैः स्फुतं मे निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धन त्वं निजजनयुतराधा कृष्णमैत्रीरसाक्त व्रजनरपशुपक्षी व्रात सौख्यैकदाता अगणितकरुणत्वान् मम उरीकृत्यतान्तं निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धन त्वं निरुपधिकरुणश्री सच्चिनन्दनेन त्यायि कपटिस्थाथोऽपि त्वत्प्रियेणार्पितोऽस्मि इति खलु मम योग्यतां माम् अगृहन् निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धन त्वं रसतदशकम् अस्य श्रीलगोवर्धनस्य क्षितिधरकुलभर्तुर्या प्रयत्नादधीते ससपदि सुखदिस्मिन् वासमासाद्य साक्षात् शुभदयुगलसेवा रत्नमाप्नोति तूर्णं निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धनत्वं निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धनत्वं निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धनत्वं निजनिकटनिवासं देहि गोवर्धनत्वं हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shri Mataji. Before Shri Govardhan Vas Pratana ki jai, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami ki jai, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you. Okay, who would like to read the translation today? Arti Mataji, we have not heard your voice for many days.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, would you like to read, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can read. Just a second. Translation. O Govardhan, O King Boss, all incomparable great mountains, O hill that became an umbrella, with the arm of your own Lord as a handle, and then destroyed the pride of the Deva king, madly attacking with raised weapons. Please grant the residence near you that is so dear to me. O Govardhana, please grant to me the residence near you that will guarantee the sight of the youthful divine couple as they enjoy passionate, amorous pastime in your caves. Sorry. O Govardhana, O hill where the Lord Krishna happily plays with Balram and his friends in the incomparable jeweled courtyards, jeweled loin thrones, trees, waterfalls, mountain groups, caves, peaks, and valleys, please grant the residence near you that is so dear to me. O Govardhana, O hill that provides the dark courtyard witnesses witnesses the Dana Kelly pastime of the nectar treasure, youthful divine couple, O hill that brings great bliss to the best of they who relish transcendental nectar, please grant to me residence near you. O Govardhana, O hill that hiding as you playfully embrace the neck of your dear friend, Lord Hari's dear unprecedented Radha Kunda secretly gazes at the pastime of the youthful divine couple, please grant to me residence near you. O Govardhana, O hill that by nourishing the cows with its water, grass, and the shade of its trees declares to the three worlds the appropriateness of its own name, please grant to me residence near you. Govardhana means that which nourishes, Vardhana, the cows, go. O Govardhana, O hill that the enemy of Aga and Baga honored by transforming into a new house to give Vraja protection from the sustained fury of the Sura king, please grant to me residence near you. O Govardhana, O king of mountains, O hill whose nectar name, the best of Lord Hari's servants, flows from the moon of Sri Radha's mouth, O hill that the Vedas declare to be the Tilaka marking of Raja, please grant to me residence near you. O Govardhana, O philanthropist that gave transcendental happiness to Raja people, animals, and birds, all anointed with the nectar of friendship of Sri Sri Radha Krishna, surrounded by their friends. Out of your immeasurable mercy, please accept unhappy me and please grant me residence near you. Although I am a cheater and a criminal, unlimitedly merciful Lord Sachidanandan, who is very dear to you, has given me to you. O Govardhana, please do not consider whether I am acceptable or not. but simply grant me residence near you, one who carefully reads these 10 nectar verses describing Srila Govardhana, the king of mountain, will very soon reside near that blissful hill and quickly attain the precious jewel of service to the handsome divine couple. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Radha Mataji. Okay. Yeah, so like this Govardhan hill has so many caves, so many wonderful fruits, flowers, everything that they offer, that he offers to Krishna in service. Like that, our heart also has deep caves from many, many millions of lifetimes we've had so many things in our hearts. But when we sing these prayers, um, one point I mentioned, or I didn't mention in the Saturday session, which I wanted to say, was like they say this powwow, like people talk about all the material things in the material world. Let's call us powwow. But for us, the pow, the power of the vow of the prayers that we sing, that is the powwow really. The power of these prayers is unlimited, the merciful. So just like the Raj Govardhan is. So may the caves in our hearts open, the doors of our hearts open through these prayers, and the Lord and the Lord's Dham, everything can manifest through the power of these prayers that our Acharyas have given us. So that should be our powwow, the power of our vow to continue with these prayers. Okay, so let's continue with Srila Prabhupada Leela Amrit, chapter 48. Prabhupada has now come from the Western world, from America to from Canada, and now he has come to India. We saw yesterday that he had met with the Prime Minister in New Delhi, Indira Gandhi, and he had a list of items, 10 items specifically, to talk to her. But he at least emphasized the first point, which is to grant permanent visas to the ISKCON devotees, foreign devotees, so that they can stay permanently here and they can continue to serve and finish these projects in time. So that was one request that he made to Indira Gandhi. And after that, now he's come to Vrindavan, and then, of course, he's seeing the inefficiencies, or he's seeing like the projects are not progressing at the speed that matters. In our company, we say, at a speed that matters. So we have to work at a speed that matters. So Prabhupada is teaching them, and he's chastising them, because that is the duty of a spiritual master, to correct and to guide the devotees on the right track at the right speed. So let's continue reading. So yeah, anybody else would like to read today? Not, then I'll continue. Okay. All right. So among sentimentalists and impersonalists, however, the image persists that a sadhu should never show anger. When at a large Pandal festival in Delhi, Srila Prabhupada had shown anger toward a man who spoke against Krishna, many in the audience had misunderstood. Some had even walked out. Prabhupada's disciples could accept his anger. They even welcomed it theoretically, but to bear it was difficult. The spiritual master must cut through his student's false ego to engage that student in pure service. The Guru's show of anger, therefore, is good for the disciple. According to Chanakya Pandit, one should not be lenient with sons and disciples. Unless he deals strictly with them, he will spoil them. Prabhupada's anger in Vrindavan was not, however, a mere exercise in student training. He strongly desired to see the temple solidly established. He trusted that his disciples were sufficiently loyal to him to withstand the pain of chastisement and take it for what it was, mercy. Prabhupada was vigilant about the devotees' attendance at the morning devotional program in the temple. Calling for the temple president, he asked why some devotees were regularly absent. Mangala Arati, he said, was very important and everyone must attend. Punctuality was also important. The exact time for the Mangala Arati would vary according to the clock, he said, but it must always be 1.5 hours before sunrise. Prabhupada would take his morning walk, timing it so he would be back in the temple a few moments before the deity doors were supposed to open for darshan. Once, when he was waiting, with all the devotees gathered around, he looked at his watch and then asked Akshayananda Swami, "What is the time?" Aware that Srila Prabhupada was speaking with exactitude, Akshananda replied that it was 30 seconds after 7:30. Prabhupada shook his head and with a resigned look he said, "It is very difficult to be a Brahmana. 30 seconds late. Why are they taking so long to dress the deity?" Akshananda explained that the deity dressing took about 1.5 hours. "They are simply lazy," Prabhupada replied. "How long should it take, Srila Prabhupada?" "Half an hour at most." Akshananda was flabbergasted. Since he knew of no pujari who could come even close to that, he remained silent. "What is the difficulty?" Prabhupada challenged. "Half an hour at most." Shortly after Prabhupada had arrived, he had noticed that the path leading to the front gate was not clean. He had complained strongly. "Why this is not clean? It should be clean by the time daybreak comes. I want to see this cleaned." The temple commander, a young Englishman from Australia named Hari Sauri, was supposed to supervise all the cleaning, but he had taken much of it for himself. After hearing Prabhupada's remarks about the pathway, Hari Sauri had resolved to rectify the problem. Immediately after Mangalarti, he would run out to the front of the temple, throw water on the stone pathways, and madly run the large squeege over the front steps and walkway, so that by the time Prabhupada came by, most of the area would be sparkling clean. And by the time he would return from his walk, all the outdoor walkways would be clean. Srila Prabhupada didn't say anything further about the walkway, which seemed to be a positive sign. Getting the devotees to ring the bell in the temple dome on time was a major effort for Srila Prabhupada, as was getting them to ring the bell in the temple hall at all. His desire was that the bell in the temple dome should sound the hour and ring once every half hour. The grounds watchman or chowkidar was supposed to do it, and Gunarnava was to see that he did. But for weeks there were problems, especially during the hours of the night when Chowkidar tended to fall asleep. For Srila Prabhupada, the undependable bell ringing revealed much about the overall temple management in Vrindavan. He made it clear, "I am judging the management of this temple by the ringing of the bell." If the night watchman was sleeping and if the temple leaders could not execute a simple order, how would the temple and guest house with all their complexities operate smoothly? Akshayananda Swami and Gunarnava sometimes thought that they would never solve the problem of the bells, especially since they already had so many other things to do. But Srila Prabhupada was relentless. Whenever the bell missed by even a few minutes, he would demand to know what was wrong. During the night, he was usually the only one not sleeping, but he would wake Akshayananda or others and reprimand them if the bell failed. One night at midnight, he woke Harikesha, his traveling secretary. "Do you hear that?" demanded Srila Prabhupada. Harikesha strained to hear. "I don't hear anything." "You can't hear it?" repeated Prabhupada. "I'm sorry, but I can't hear anything." "That's right. Go out there and wake up the chowkidar and make him ring the bell." Harikesha went out into the darkness, woke the sleeping chowkidar, got him to ring the bell, and then returned to sleep. And so did the chowkidar. At 12:30 p.m., Prabhupada again rang. "Did you hear it again?" "No, Srila Prabhupada," said Harikesha. "So go out and wake him again." In addition to getting the temple dome bell to ring on time, getting both the bells to operate properly was also a problem. The bells were of heavy brass, working by a rope. Prabhupada wanted the bell in the temple to be rung constantly during the Aarti Kirtans. It took weeks for Gunarnava to arrange it. And the bell in the temple dome was particularly difficult since the rope rubbed on the stone walls and soon snapped. The thicker rope Gunarnava got simply spoiled the clarity of the chime and made the ringing uneven, which Prabhupada immediately noticed. Gunarnava tried a chain too heavy, a nylon rope, it broke. Materials were scarce in Vrindavan, and each change meant another delay, sometimes days. Nothing seemed to make the bell work properly. Srila Prabhupada told Gunarnava to try a pulley. Somehow Gunarnava couldn't surrender to that particular instruction. He thought the rope would just jump the track. One of the devotees did purchase a pulley, but Gunarnava said it was useless. When Prabhupada called Gunarnava to his room and demanded, "Where are the pulley wheels?" Gunarnava said he had sent them back. "You rascal!" Prabhupada shouted. "I'm asking for pulleys, and you are sending them back?" Gunarnava apologized, ran out, and got a pulley. It didn't work. Then he got the idea of designing a bracket with a hole in it. The next morning, Prabhupada came out of his room and walked around to the front of the temple to check on the bell. For Gunarnava and others, the whole affair was becoming unbearable. "Let us hear the bell," said Prabhupada. Giving mighty tugs to the rope, a devotee rang the bell again and again. "No, that's wrong," said Prabhupada. Gunarnava showed Prabhupada the wooden bracket arrangement, and Prabhupada thought it was a good idea. Gunarnava even tried to improve it by greasing the hole, and it worked for a while. But then the rope snapped again. Prabhupada's morning walks were usually filled with managerial and administrative talks, as he pointed out how the devotees could prevent being cheated, how they could save and collect money, how they could keep the temple clean, and so on. These talks were directed at specific individuals and were usually marked by criticism. Morning walks, therefore, were sometimes tense. One morning, Gunarnava invited Prabhupada to see the new book display. In a sincere effort to please Prabhupada, the devotees had set up a book display just inside the entrance to the temple. There were bookshelves with built in lighting, a display case, and a counter for sales. Showing off the book display was a triumph for the temple managers. The lights worked, and Srila Prabhupada's books were neatly placed. The GBC secretary for Vrindavan, Gopal Krishna, was also present, telling Srila Prabhupada that actually the temple was first class and that things were now going smoothly. As Gopal Krishna, Maharaj, Aksharananda Swami, Gunarnava, and others pointed out the features of the book display, Srila Prabhupada was silent, then suddenly agitated. You say that everything is first class, he said, but I see that it is fifth class. Just see. He banged his cane on the floor and then lifted it up, pointing. I have come 6,000 miles to tell you about a bird's nest. The assembled devotees all looked up to behold a large bird's nest within the chandelier. Birds were nesting there amid the protruding straw. Yet, until now, no one had noticed the dirty, unsightly presence. Srila Prabhupada had explained in his letters and books that one duty of a spiritual master is to expose the faults in his disciples, even if the fault is only slight. And the qualified disciple considers himself bereft of spiritual knowledge, always a fool before his spiritual master. He therefore considers the spiritual master's criticisms as mercy. One day, Srila Prabhupada was meeting with the temple managers. He wanted practical ideas, not sentiments. He complained about overspending in Vrindavan and now in Bombay also, where construction was just beginning. You will squander money here, he said, and Surabhi will squander money there. What is your plan to stop this? What will you do? No one knew what to say. There was a long silence. Finally, Akshayananda spoke up. We will become Krishna conscious. An impractical suggestion, Prabhupada explained. Akshayananda Swami regularly expected the thunderbolt, but that didn't keep him from wanting to be with Srila Prabhupada. On one morning walk, Prabhupada mentioned how the climate in Vrindavan was very harsh, both in summer and in winter. In winter, he said, the cold would sometimes be accompanied by rain. But Prabhupada, said Akshayananda, even if it rains stool and urine and pus and blood from the sky, still we should stay in Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada gave an almost impish smile and said, Oh, you are expecting. The devotees burst out laughing. Another time, Akshayananda Swami asked, Is it true that it says in the Shastra that if you pass stool once a day, you are a yogi, twice a day, you are a bhogi, sense enjoyer, and 3 times a day, you are a rogi, diseased person? Yes, said Prabhupada, and he kept walking. After a while, he added, But don't try for passing stool once a day. Acha, responded Akshayananda. Srila Prabhupada smiled. Do you think if you pass stool once a day that you are a yogi? Harishwari had little personal association with the spiritual master. But one day in Vrindavan, Prabhupada asked to see him to point out a serious discrepancy. As temple commander, Harishwari had asked an old man not to eat in front of the deity in the temple. The old man had become upset, and a young Bengali man had defended him, shouting at Harishwari that he had no right to criticize anyone in the temple. Harishwari had attempted to ignore him, but the young Bengali had continued shouting and threatening to throw him out of the temple and cut off his shikha. Finally, Harishwari had twisted the young man's arm and had told the chowkidar to throw him out. Srila Prabhupada soon heard of the incident and called for Harishwari. How inauspicious, Harishwari thought. The first time my spiritual master has ever called for me, and it's over a bad incident like this. Prabhupada did not immediately reprimand him, but first asked for his version of what had happened. Harishwari appreciated the opportunity and he began to tell the whole story. When he mentioned that the old man had asked to speak with an authority and that he had told him he was the temple commander, Srila Prabhupada interrupted. Prabhupada gave his disciples a penetrating glance. Temple commander does not mean commander in chief. Where have you heard this about eating prasadam in front of the deity? Harishwari could not remember an exact reference and he became embarrassed. Well, I thought I read it in one of your books, Srila Prabhupada, he said. Prabhupada looked at him again. He could understand his disciples' ignorant mistake. Because of the boy's inexperience in India, he had not understood the serious implications of what he had done. Actually, because of the sensitive relationship between ISKCON devotees and the residents of Vrindavan, he should have tolerated the abuse. His was an ignorant mistake, but ignorance was no excuse. This is a great offense, said Prabhupada. He will go out and tell so many people that the foreigners have thrown him out. This is very bad. Prabhupada looked gravely at Harishwari. Now you find out where this man is staying, he said, and you bring him back here. Invite him to come back. Harishwari tried his best, looking all day for the young Bengali man who was reportedly staying at a hotel in Mathura. He was unsuccessful, however. Disappointed, he returned to the temple, and as soon as he returned, a devotee came and told him Prabhupada wanted to see him. Oh no, he thought, now Prabhupada will really be angry. Harishwari entered Srila Prabhupada's room, which was filled with guests. This boy has come, said Prabhupada, and as Harishwari looked around, he saw the young Bengali man. The man smiled and said, Hare Krishna. They embraced and began to make apologies. So, you give him this fruit, said Prabhupada to Harishwari, indicating a basket of fruit sitting on the floor. He then dismissed them and continued preaching to the others in the room. The disagreement was settled, but it had been Prabhupada himself who had changed the young man's heart and rectified a volatile incident. One of Prabhupada's women disciples in Vrindavan, who got the benefit of his criticisms, was Devi Shakti, who was responsible for cleaning Prabhupada's quarters. Others helped her, but she was the supervisor. When Srila Prabhupada noticed a glass that had not been polished, he asked who was doing the cleaning, and his servant replied, Devi Shakti. Oh, she must do everything? Prabhupada replied. It was far from being as heavy as some of his criticisms of the temple managers. But Devi Shakti took it as an indication that she should become much more attentive to the details of her service. Kishori Devi Dasi, the deity's cook, inquired from Srila Prabhupada about certain aspects of her service. Cook for Krishna as for a young man with a big appetite, he advised her. Krishna should get 10 puris, 4 chapatis, lots of rice, 2 samosas, 2 kachoris, 2 vadas, and 2 of each sweet. The cooked preparations should be served hot. So now you have to teach everyone how to cook, he said. You have to give everyone what you have received. Kishori would also bring a garland for Srila Prabhupada in the afternoon. To make it cooling, she would sprinkle it with water. For 2 days, Prabhupada said nothing, but on the third day he remarked, Take this away. Why do you put water like that? It is very displeasing. Vishala had a practice, which other devotees considered eccentric, of standing at the gate and loudly reciting Sanskrit verses as Srila Prabhupada passed. One morning, Prabhupada approached the gate in a thunderbolt mood, and as usual, Vishala came forward reciting verses. Why don't you do something useful? Prabhupada said. Sweep this water away. Srila Prabhupada would sample the guest house cooking daily, often suggesting how to improve the quality. Each day, Navayogendra would bring Prabhupada the plate from the restaurant and then note down Prabhupada's comment on each preparation. The following day, the cooks would attempt to improve the food, but based on Prabhupada's remarks. And so it was with each department. Even when riding in the car, Prabhupada would ask, You are having it oiled regularly? You are having it lubricated and serviced? Other temples were homes away from home, said Prabhupada, but Vrindavan was home. Those who wished to live there with him, however, had to pass the test of his constant scrutiny and sharp criticism. They had to accept the hard work and austerity, and special austerities meant special blessings. When a devotee asked to be excused from his duties in Vrindavan to operate a farm in the West, Prabhupada said that even opening 20 farms would not be as important as remaining in Vrindavan. Those who persevered eventually began to see all difficulties as nectar, as had been expressed by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. When difficulties arise in the service, I find them source of happiness. Hare Krishna. Okay, so Prabhupada is in the thunderbolt mode. Last 7 days, Indradev had been in thunderbolt mode as Krishna was lifting the Govardhan hill. So, like that, Prabhupada is teaching them, and today, today is the 9th day. Finally, Indradev has relented his reign in Cincinnati. So now we are going to hopefully have a non-rainy day after Krishna has broken the pride of Indradev. So, but anyway, similarly, Prabhupada is breaking the pride of all his disciples in Vrindavan by his chastisement, which is actually mercy of the spiritual master. So we have the spiritual vision, then we see that yes, he's cutting through our sense of pride, our sense of false ego, and yeah, so many practical things that we learn from Prabhupada's instructions and his disciples' sincerity in following them. That yeah, they were not offended; they took it as his mercy and his mercy for their upliftment, for their betterment. Yeah. It's nice to see today the bookcase example that was shared. And yes, my dear Guru Maharaj, it was very close to his heart, the instruction of book publication, book distribution. And yeah, I see again here, like I've read many times where Prabhupada would chastise, Guru Maharaj, and would chastise, of course, all of his disciples. But like we were saying yesterday, they stuck with Prabhupada no matter what happened, and that is why they are where they are. But that example, like they're saying, everything in the floor looks good, like the bookcase and the shelves, the display of the books, and everything was pakka, very nice, but the chandelier had a bird's nest, and Prabhupada could see, maybe he saw, he bumped his cane against the floor, like it was said, right? So he saw that there were maybe bird droppings from the nest above. And he said, I came 6,000 miles to teach you this. That reminded me when, if you remember, we were in London and Prabhupada was in the Bhaktivedanta Manor, and he was London, or was it somewhere? I forget. I think it was, yeah, it was there. So he was walking around, and then for his morning walk, and if you remember, he came under a tree, and then he saw some bird droppings there. And then he said, do you see this? And everybody said, yes, yes, Shri Prabhupada. What does this mean? He asked. Right? And then everybody was trying to guess and trying to come up with something. I said, what does this mean? Everybody was thinking, and Prabhupada said, that means that these birds have become very attached to this place, right? So like that, like we as jivas in this world have become attached. So Prabhupada was, anything and everything he would connect back to connect back to our instructions of our scriptures, right? So like that. So for somehow, today he's seeing this birds in the book display room in Vrindavan temple, and he's saying everything. You say everything is first class. I consider this as fifth class. If somebody, just imagine for a moment, like you were there in that room at that point, and you had done like your best to make that display, such elegant, and such nicely decorated and everything perfect, for concentrating on Prabhupada's books and shelves and everything. And Prabhupada comes and gives this chastisement, how hard that will feel, like a thunderbolt. But still, that is the tolerance that we are talking about, that despite 99 things that we may do right, if there is one thing that we have done wrong, having the humility and the tolerance to accept that, yes, I am wrong, I'm at fault, and I need to correct that one thing, I think that will take us a long way forward. And that is what we are learning from these, sincere disciples of Srila Prabhupada, how much they gave to him while he was on this planet, and how much more they gave to his instructions after he left. That is where the real test is. When Prabhupada is there in front of you, of course, you have to be humble, you have to be, meek, yes. But after he left, following these instructions throughout their life for 50 years, and, taking this moment forward, that shows that they have passed the test that Prabhupada gave them that time, right? So, yeah, all these are wonderful, wonderful disciples of Prabhupada, and so many things coming to my mind, like Guru Maharaj, this example of the bell also, he would give this in many of his lectures, that Prabhupada was so particular about the bell in Vrindavan. Like, he wanted the chowkidars to remain awake, and how practical that was, the chowkidars were sleeping. So he wanted, that they should be ringing this bell every 1 hour. And today, I mean, I had only heard that in Guru Maharaj's lectures once or twice, but um, at a brief level, he would mention that this was the reason. Today we went into so much detail. Prabhupada was so adamant about getting that working, even though it was hard and it was not working for many weeks. But still, again, so practical, just to make sure that everybody is awake, everybody's, at least the chowkidars are awake. That concept of ringing the bell every 1 hour should go on. So, yeah, so nice. Okay, anybody else would like to share anything that you liked, loved, learned from today's reading? Let's see, who all do we have? Yes, anybody? Anything? Any thoughts? Ritesh Prabhu, how are you? Been a long time heard from you. If you're speaking, you're on
Hare
mute.
Krishna, yeah, Hare Krishna,
Yes.
Prabhuji.
Sorry, Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Anything that you
Prabhuji, it's
share?
always such a pleasure to read about how Prabhupada did all the things by himself and all by with such a grace, with such a pure heart, and with such a big commitment. We simple people are still uh, struggling to fight with the daily needs and still daily like activities. Lately, things have been very busy at work, but thank you, Prabhuji, for being so committed to the morning readings and all the things that you have been doing. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you for joining and inspiring each other. We are all in this together. Like Prabhupada said, we all have to cooperate with each other, and then that pleases Srila Prabhupada. So yeah, whatever we are doing, it is all following his instructions, and it is like ABC that Prabhupada gave us. So association, books, and chanting, right? So the whole ABC is there. So when we come together, associate, read the books, chant together, that pleases Prabhupada. It can become like A, B, C, D, E, F, ABC that we do every morning. Devotionalizes, D for devotionalizes, E for everything, F for G for God, H for head. So it devotionalizes everything for God. And like we start, our whole day becomes spiritualized, devotionalized. So that is how we should take these instructions of Srila Prabhupada. Everything is perfect in his instructions. Like he was saying, that pulley he asked for, he said, "You rascal, I'm calling for the pulley and you're sending it back." So there is always, when they say something, when if you're devotee of the Lord says something, like I said, it's always there is deeper meaning behind why they are saying what they are saying. So sometimes we may not understand, but if we just simply follow the instructions without any adulteration, like even the books that we were printing yesterday, when he was coming from America, they said, "Oh, Prabhupada, we have questions about the fifth canto, about the universe and all this." He said, "It's all unintelligent. Just print the books as they are, right? So as he has translated, as he has transcribed, just print them. That's it." So of course, sometimes, many of times, 99% of the time, Prabhupada would answer those questions, explaining the why behind why we are doing what we are doing. But yeah, sometimes when it was not needed, again, we just follow the instructions as it is, right? So that is what our qualification is. So yeah, thank you, Prabhu. All right, thank you, dear devotees, for your wonderful association in chanting and reading of Srila Prabhupada books. So ABC, we are trying to perfect our ABC by Srila Prabhupada's mercy and his disciples' mercy. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णवृंद की जय। जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद लीलामृत की जय। कार्तिक मास महामहोत्सव की जय। नीताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Bol, Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.